Is there a fixed number of items you're allowed to own as a minimalist? Do I have to do laundry every day? And do I ever miss my old things? Today, I'm answering the biggest questions you ask me about minimalism. Honestly, and from 7 years of experience. Let's go. What actually makes you a minimalist? A lot of people ask, is there a fixed number of things you're allowed to own? Luckily, no. There is no minimalism police counting your stuff. The famous 100 things idea actually comes from an American, Dave Bruno. In 2008, he lived with only 100 personal items for 1 year and he wrote a book about it, the 100 Thing Challenge. An important detail here though is he counted only his own things, not furniture or shared things that he shared with his family. But these fixed numbers, they aren't realistic for everyone. Find your own number instead. Don't force a lifestyle on yourself that you don't even want. For my personal things, I try to stay around this 100. Clothes, beauty, tech, hobbies, everything that is just mine. And no, also not every area in your life has to be minimalist either. Maybe a minimalist wardrobe is enough for you, especially to start. And that alone can already change a lot. Minimalism is just a tool. Use it in a way that creates calm for you and not stress. And when can you actually call yourself a minimalist? Honestly, the moment you consciously choose this path. Minimalism isn't a finish line, it's an ongoing process. The next question is, aren't you afraid of needing something later? This is one of the biggest fears in the beginning. And honestly, almost everyone has it. The best advice here is that you declutter step by step. If you clear out your whole apartment at once, this fear gets very huge. Start with one drawer, one category. Start with things that don't matter that much. That's how you build trust in this decluttering process, and you will realize nothing bad happens. People also ask, what if something breaks? But in 7 years, nothing has broken that I couldn't replace quickly. Once, my charging cable broke and someone lent me one. And honestly, the most important things you can get almost anywhere nowadays if you really need them. Another question is, how do minimalists deal with sentimental things? What helps me is choosing one meaningful item. Something useful, a piece of furniture for example, a pen or a letter. Or you can also keep a small memory box, a fixed space, and once it's full, something old has to leave before something new can come in. For old photos and letters, I keep only the best ones, and the rest gets scanned. That is not thrown away, it is just a different way to store it. People ask me if I miss my old things. Honestly, no. Because once something is gone, you realize how fast this emotional weight disappears too. For example, I sold almost my whole wardrobe when I got pregnant. This was really hard for me because so many of my emotions were attached to it. And now, only a couple weeks later, I could barely tell you even what those pieces were. That taught me something so important. The memory is not in the object. It's in you. It's in your head, in your heart. And the same thing goes for inherited things. You are allowed to let them go. I always think when I'm gone one day, I want people to have a few beautiful things from me, not a huge mess that they have to deal with. How do minimalists host guests? People often imagine minimalist homes as cold or also impractical. But honestly, it's often the opposite. People walk into our place and say, wow, it feels calm and cozy. Because less stuff creates space to breathe. And where do guests sleep? Well, on our sofa. We bought one that's extra comfortable for that. And if the guests are older or if we have multiple guests, I book a hotel nearby or I ask my family. That's still cheaper than paying rent for years for an empty guest room. And no, we don't have extra dishes either. We have 4 of each. We have small plates, bigger plates, and soup plates. And that's enough. For birthdays and gatherings, I just keep it usually simple. Potluck is one of my favorites. Everyone brings something. The focus is anyway on the people and not on the decorations. Next question is, how do minimalists handle gifts? And this is a big one. How do you react to unwanted gifts? First, be grateful. The person had good intentions. They don't want to hurt you. But you do not have to keep something out of guilt. The purpose of the gift, the joy in giving it, it had already happened. And after that, you are free. Sell it, donate it, pass it on. I once got a beautiful dress as a gift, but it didn't suit me at all. So I sold it secondhand. Someone else loved it then, and that is a win. That person that gifted me this dress asked me about it later on, and I told them honestly. And that's also how people can learn what you actually appreciate as a gift and what not. But what if your family keeps gifting you things? Talk about it before birthday or before Christmas, not in the moment. And don't say, don't buy me anything. Share your philosophy. Explain why less feels better for you. And if people still want to give you something, consumables are great. Coffee, oils, chocolate, special food. For me, it's expensive nuts that are nicely roasted and salted and whatever. Or experiences. Something concrete, like for example a concert, and not random vouchers. And yes, I still give gifts too, just more consciously. Next question, do minimalists still buy things? Yes, of course. People are always surprised by that. But minimalism doesn't mean never buy anything. It means buying consciously. I still love going to stores. I just usually don't really buy anything. Because over time, you get better at recognizing what you actually need. And also, how much junk is out there in the stores. I usually just keep the rough concept in my head of what I want, and if I see something, I can buy it. Is minimalism expensive or does it save money? Long term, I saved a lot. But at the start, not really. Because in the beginning, I made expensive mistakes by thinking quality always means expensive. Now I do know better. It's always best to keep what you already have, to buy secondhand and to replace slowly. Minimalism saves money because you become more intentional about what you buy. And because you stop buying for the fantasy versions of yourself. That's where most money gets wasted. And no, minimalism is not the same as being stingy. Minimalists do spend money, just more on things and experience that actually add value. Here's a big question. Do I have to do laundry all the time? Because I own fewer clothes, people assume I wash my clothes daily. But no, the machine runs when it's full. I air my clothes out, I also spot clean them. I do plan ahead, and I anyway always have backups for every piece. Because minimalism doesn't mean owning one pair of pants. You can have 3, 4 or 5. It just means owning enough. And this enough, it looks different for everyone. Especially with seasons. Now that I live in Switzerland, it's very different than when I was living out of a backpack in more tropical countries. Of course, I do own now more seasonal clothes, and that's why I just store my winter clothes away in summer and vice versa. You don't need everything visible all years. You can also create visual calm by storing things away. And the last question is, how do you actually start minimalism? The most important thing is not where you start. It's that you start. And that you start small. Choose something easy. It can be a bathroom drawer, a shelf, a corner. But I would advise to not start with your wardrobe and not start with sentimental things. And don't do everything in one weekend. That usually ends in overwhelm. Instead, do 15 minutes a day. And that is enough. And most importantly, when you declutter something, don't refill that area right away. Give yourself a little shopping break. Learn what you actually miss. And that is where real clarity and minimalism starts. And that's it. I hope this answered some of the biggest questions you have about minimalism. If you have more, leave them down below. I'm happy to do a part 2. I see you soon. Ciao!